I don't know if this scares you, but it makes me feel a little bit old that you've been doing it for like 13 or 14 years. I'm sure you feel really old when you say that. Did you imagine you'd still be on the road 13 or 14 years later? Do your knees hold out like they used to? Is there a couple of times when you just think to yourself, I'm a little bit too old for this shit these days. Like I just got to slow it down. I'm not as young as I used to be.
Sure. I mean, that thought pops into my head every other day. I go, man, I may look like I'm 30, but I feel like I'm 80.
Yeah.
Like my tour body is so old, man. How old is it? It's so old. No, literally, I did a backflip last week at a show and landed, and I was like, "Oh, I'm 31."
Okay,
like,
can we
I knew my age.
I just have to stop.
Hard, I knew my age.
I just have to stop you. I'm in my 30s as well, and I have never attempted a backflip in my entire life. So that you can even you can even attempt a backflip at 31. That we're not talking to you in hospital. You're achieving, bro, and you don't talk yourself down. You are still achieving in this life.
Thanks, man. That helps.
Now, album number 6, Pray for the Wicked. Talk to me. What do you want people to know before it's released on the eve of them getting their ears around it? For people who've been fans of the band since the beginning, to people who found you halfway through in the 9 in the afternoon days, to somebody who's hearing High Hopes on the radio for the first time and going, I've never heard Rock Band on the radio before, because in 2018, you guys are still like, no, you think I'm joking, but like the music business has changed so much that the guitars and Rock Band back on the radio, it's so cool that you guys are back and leading that charge again.
That's really cool of you to say that. I appreciate that. I guess the one thing I would tell people is that, to expect not the same Panic record. This is nothing like the previous 5 albums. Just for whatever reason, I did not expect to make this album. I got home from doing a stint on Broadway, and I did not want to do any writing. I told myself I was going to take 2 weeks off from anything, literally, and just sleep most of the day. Like for 2 weeks I planned. And 2 days went by, and I just couldn't take it. I jumped in the studio. I was feeling inspired. I went through old demos I was working on in my stint at Broadway, like in between the double shows. I was looking back at old demos from a year ago, 2 years ago. So for me to be able to jump back into that world, it felt right, and I did not expect that. So by the time I had like 7 or 8 songs for this album, I started to it was going to become, and then, the Pray for the Wicked. And that's really touching on what I feel all the songs touch on, but it's touching on my Mormon upbringing. I'm not religious anymore, but I still pray. I don't pray to some omniscient being that I think is like a angry kid with a magnifying glass burning us off like ants in some lab. I just think that, that lives inside of me. So I meditate to myself and I say, how can I do better? How am I going to change? How can I improve myself as a human being? How can I give more? That's really what it came down to. So I hope that people pull that message from it overall.
Yeah, lovely. Well, hey, I'm super excited for everybody to hear the record. Hardcore fans of yours will know that you did a stint in Kinky Boots. Do you want to do that? Do you want to keep doing that? Because, obviously, I mean, it's a lot of, I can imagine it's a lot of fun. It'd be totally different to being in a rock band. Is that on your horizon again to keep doing, or?
Sure. I mean, as you said, you mentioned Book of Mormon, the musical. I would love to be an Elder Price, but I have so many tattoos on my left arm. I would have to wear like a sleeve, but I would love to do that. Man, like, I believe, like all that stuff. That's my favorite stuff, dude. So I would love to do that.
Well, hey, look, as I said, Book of Mormon, it started playing here in Australia. We could get you up on the stage when you're here doing a tour with the band. I mean, I don't know. I can't make that happen, but I'm just putting it out there into the universe, right?
Oh, good. I'll put it out there too. I appreciate that.
No.